Make sure to like and subscribe. This podcast is back. Great return guest. Got Tim from Cox Talking Gamecocks. How we doing today?
Doing all right, man. It's nice to be back, I guess, in enemy territory, but appreciate you having me nonetheless.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you giving us. Well, Tim, want to jump right into it. Always love some coaching hot seat talk. Gotta bring your boy in, Shane Beamer. I know last year was disappointing, 4-8, I believe. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Gamecock Nation. How we're feeling. I think he's 33 and 30. 2 years ago, great season. Coulda made the playoffs, but coming off 4-8, how are we feeling heading into the 2026 season?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when you look at the records there, like it's just so start and stop under Beamer so far. It's like he's kind of came into things and exceeded expectations off the bat, and then you kind of have that expectations that you're going to progress, and then you don't really quite live up to them, and then you surprise some people, and you are somehow on the playoff bubble, and then you think, okay, well, we have the core group sticking together, like naturally this should continue to go, and then you have a disaster. Absolutely everything went sideways last year. So the mood around Gamecock Nation was pretty dark last football season, especially towards the end of it. Obviously, the folks and the powers that be made the decision to retain Beamer. But this past offseason, whether it's Beamer himself or with the new AD having his hands on the program now, you've seen like a shift in mentality for the staff that he's hired around him, where it seemed like he was giving guys a lot of leash, and he really wanted guys that he had some history with, which a lot of coaches do, right? But this hiring cycle, he brings in Kendall Briles as the OC, who's the only offensive coordinator under Beamer with a legitimate track record in college. And then he brings in a couple other of assistants, Drayton being one of them, and who he maybe doesn't have like the deepest relationships with, but who have come with great track records and other good references. So there's some optimism now that this thing can come together and we can right the ship, because you still have a pretty good core group of guys, but nonetheless, like there's already talks about like, what does Beamer need to do to keep his job? Like, is a bowl game it? Like, is that our expectation here, or does he got to go 7 or plus? So nonetheless, like it's been a weird tenure for Beamer where he just can't consistently deliver a certain number of wins. It's very start and stop.
Do you like the hires from the offseason?
I do. Okay. Yeah, I definitely do. You have to start with Kendall Briles, I just mentioned, because that was the biggest. Yeah, that was the craziest thing of last season, where you have an incredible 24. You have LaNorris coming back. You have Nick Harbor coming back. There's these pieces that you feel like you can build on. They kept the hire in-house and promoted quarterback's assistant coach Shula to OC. He has the experience in the NFL, but it was forever ago. But he coached Cam Newton. So you're like, okay, maybe it'll work with LaNorris. There's some similar skill sets. And then it was just a disaster. So I like this hire with Briles, and he brings in Randy Clements, his offensive line coach, who they have worked together forever. And so now they're going to be speaking the same language, because it was always this trying to hodgepodge the offensive line and OC together under Beamer. And it's been always just an underperforming group. So I think that's really what gives us the hope here. And because on the defensive side of the ball, the staff has been pretty consistent and they've delivered really well. You're bringing in a new edge coach, but nonetheless, he comes with some really good results up at Penn State. So yeah, all in all, I'm excited about those hires for sure.
Sounds good. Always good to make some changes. So are you a Shane Beamer guy? Do you want him to stay? Do you want him to get long-term, or are you ready for a change?
I'm a fan. I am. And I've been unapologetic about that. But at the same time, like, I don't think he's perfect. I think he's a good fit for South Carolina. And ultimately, though, you have to deliver, right? Like, I don't want you to coach our team because you have some history at Carolina. You're a good culture fit. You understand the challenges of the school. You have to deliver, right? But there's some things that I think he himself would say he needs to clean up. I mean, I don't even want to bring this up because it's such a PTSD moment. But when Carolina is up a ton at the half at A&M this past season, Shane Beamer is running to the tunnel at halftime, waving his hands in the air like this, as if he had won the game. And what happened in the second half? The team just got stomped. So when you see your head coach celebrating at the half, that's not something that, a Saban would do, a Kirby Smart would do, a Dan Lanning would do. So I think Beamer is very imperfect. I think he's a good fit for South Carolina. And maybe there's a little bit about me that just doesn't want to have to go through this whole hiring process again. But I do think if he can continue to put good people around him, I think he's a good recruiter. And I think he instills a pretty good culture in the locker room. There's just a few things that we have to figure out. Why can't we be consistent? Why can't we start the season well? But overall, I am a fan.
Okay, that's good.
I almost talked myself out of not being a fan there, bringing back A&M. But overall, yes, I'm a fan. I would give him maybe a C+, right? Where one more bad paper, you could be in you're failing the class, but a good paper, you're in pretty good standing.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. And how about in the offseason, recruiting wise and then transfer portal wise, do you like some of the moves that he did, and how do you see the team for 2026?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the transfer portal, they did a pretty good job in my opinion. Kind of similar mindset to the coaches that he hired. He went away from trying the staff, right? Seemingly went away from trying to find all these diamonds in the rough. Beamer was pretty good at that, but he would take flyers on a lot of guys, and sometimes it wouldn't pan out. But every now and again, you find a guy who is from Newberry and is a pretty good running back for you, and you look like a genius, but you can only do that so many times. So you look at, particularly on the defensive line, Beamer brought in a couple of guys who have some really good experience in college. He brought in some older guys. I think what you saw last season was maybe a leadership gap, which is crazy because you have guys who have been on the team for a while, but I think there were just different types of leaders. So I think he wanted to bring in more veterans from the transfer portal, really on both lines of scrimmage now that I think about it. Recruiting wise, it's been solid. It was a slow June. Missed on a couple of prospects that you felt pretty good about. June has been a pretty good month historically for Beamer, but July has been really good. You bring in Dobson, who's a fantastic defensive back, 5 stars, one of the higher rated recruits in program history. You've hit on a couple other guys this month as well. So things are trending up. I don't know where they sit right now, rankings wise. I want to say maybe 25, give or take, which he tends to live there, 15 to 20 nationally ranking. So all told, I feel pretty good there. But for the transfer portal, I think you've brought in some really good, exciting veterans who should help plug in some holes that you needed.
Yeah, that's good. You guys actually have a 5-star. I think we got 1 5-star. Georgia's really struggled this year. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole, NIL and everything. They're around 17. I don't even know if they're going to get a top 10 class. Kirby's been trying some different things, but it's not a recruiting class we're used to. I know it's a lot of moving parts, but
it's crazy too because you get all excited, but these guys can leave. Exactly. You could get a guy on campus freshman year, maybe he plays well, and then he's gone. So it's hard to get excited about recruiting classes. I still do because it's football in the summer, right? But at the same time, I think we got to look at active roster or current roster, right? And the transfer portal to really get an idea of what we're looking at.
Right. And then back to the all season, just because got to ask, just because it was a lot of people, pointing towards it. So is there any nervousness with when the Virginia Tech role and having, his dad being there, all-time great, that Shane might take a move to Blacksburg, Virginia? Was there any hand-wringing there, or what was your thoughts?
It's funny because there were a lot of people who were hoping he was gonna, right? Because of just how bad last season went.
Yeah.
I wasn't really worried about that because there had been rumors about that earlier in his tenure, and he said no. And then I think there might have been rumors of I don't know if it was Mississippi State or at some point there was another rumor mill going that Beamer could go, and he's been very steadfast in that this is the place he wants to be. This is his dream job. He has said that, and I know every coach says that and leaves, but I really do think he wants to make his own mark and doesn't want to be Frank's son back at Virginia Tech. So yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen, but some folks thought it might have, and again, might have been hoping for it.
Okay. I think it was a good move to he would have been in his dad's shadow, so I think it's a good move. He's trying to make his own claim to head coaching with staying in South Carolina, so I thought it was a good move.
Yeah.
And then looking at LaNorris Sellers, I know he's going to be your QB1 coming back. 2 years ago, really good year. Last year could have been OC issues, took a little bit of a step back. Yeah. So what's your expectations of LaNorris Sellers? And I believe you guys had probably pony up some NIL money to keep him. Was that rumor?
I would imagine so. That I thought when you said rumor mill, I thought that's what we were talking about. You know, you had – who was it? Was it freaking Dan?
Miami.
He was just like, oh, Miami would be a good – like thin air. And now that was some hand-wringing. That really was. But, I mean, he's such an exciting player. Like, really can do it all. A lot of people will look at the surface and they'll think, like, this guy can run. He's a runner. Like, he absolutely can. He's strong as anything, can bully guys over, but he has an arm. Like, you can see multiple times this past season, just the deep shots with accuracy to Harbor. He has to work on some of those short to intermediate throws, work on his touch a little bit. There's been times that's hurt us, but super excited about him. He's more experienced now. I think bringing in a OC like Bryles, who's going to tailor that system more to his needs, it's really now or never for LaNorris. And I think last year, maybe he was trying to be something that he wasn't. I don't know, again, if that's the OC or whatnot. The offensive line couldn't block anybody, so that really didn't help. But he's got to work on some of his pocket awareness as well. He took some really bad sacks last year. He's still developing, right? But now it's your third year is going to be the starter. I expect to see some improvement, and I'm super excited for him.
You think he could possibly be maybe like top 5 SEC quarterback, Heisman Trophy candidate, or is that what
Absolutely.
You're saying? Hopefully?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And then looking at the 2026 season, maybe on offense or defensive side of the ball, what are some strengths and weaknesses for the Gamecocks?
Ooh, yeah, that's good. All strengths, man. No. Let's go offense here. I really like our wide receiver group. It's deep. It has a really good mix of veterans. When you look at a guy like Nick Harbor, who very well could be a first-round draft pick, can do it all. Then you have Nitro Tuggle, bringing him in from the transfer portal. You have some guys who have been on the roster, like Amazio Bennett. But
Georgia had Nitro Tuggle, I believe, for a cup of coffee, I believe.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's very like you track these guys on 247. Like, oh yeah, how about that? Yeah. But then you got some young guys. LaNorris's brother, Jaden Sellers, came on big at the end of last year. I expect him to do some really good things in the slot. A couple good true sophomores or redshirt freshmen as well in the mix. So I think that's going to be a strength for the team. Running back's kind of an interesting deal where there's a couple of guys on the roster who you feel confident about. Matt Fuller right now is probably going to start. He's been on the team now for a little bit. Got some decent playing time last year, but was really RB3. But there's some good guys they brought in. Christian Clark from the transfer portal. There's a couple guys also there who are young. Jerron Howell has been on the team for a little bit now. There's just not a real bona fide RB1, which is a little concerning. South Carolina's been in that position before, was kind of in that position last year in the offseason, where you had an idea of who would be the starter, but it didn't really work out that way. So I think it could be a strength, but it's really going to be running back by committee there. Defensive side of the ball, I feel really good about the D-line as a whole, both D tackles and the edges. Dylan Stewart's working his way back from an injury. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play in the first game or two even, just because of how the schedule shakes out. Game 3, SEC opener, Mississippi State, I totally expect him there. But you bring in Herring from Tennessee as to play opposite of him. You have some young talent in that group and then some good veterans in the middle there. So feel good about that. Feel good about the linebackers. You return all 3 starters from last year. Defensive back, there's some good experience there. Little bit of a question mark of who's going to be, that DB1, that lockdown corner. A couple guys it could be, but they've all been on the team. Nickel, you bring in Snead, is it? from Kentucky. Feel good about there. Kilgore's there. Maybe in the backside, like safety could be a little vulnerable, but again, it's guys like a Peyton Williams or a David Busey who have been on the team, but maybe not have been that playmaker like an Eman Wari was. So defense, you feel pretty good about. Like maybe you're a little thin at some spots. Offense, it's just like, can they come together? Offensive line, you brought in a bunch of guys from the transfer portal. Can they come together? Can they learn this system? So everywhere you look, you can look at it both ways. There's some reason to be excitement, but there's some reason where you could be a little hesitant.